You know that feeling? You buy a new piece of tech, something that promises the world on paper, but then you get it home and the reality is, well, a little different? That's exactly the gap we're diving into today. We're going to look at the story of a really premium laptop, the HP Spectre x360, but through two totally different lenses: what the glossy marketing tells you and what the actual, sometimes messy, user experience is really like.
So HP's whole pitch for the Spectre x360 starts with this really compelling idea: intelligence that adapts to you. The promise here isn't just that you're getting a fast computer, but a smart one. Something that's supposed to be this seamless extension of how you work, maybe even anticipating what you need before you even think of it.
Okay, but what does that promise actually look like in the real world? HP really builds a strong case for the Spectre being a top-of-the-line machine. And, you guessed it, it all kicks off with the hardware. And I mean, just look at the spec sheet, it's totally stacked. We're talking an 11th Gen i7 processor, those powerful Intel Iris Xe graphics, a gorgeous anti-reflection Gorilla Glass display, and get this, up to 17 hours of battery life. Plus, you've got all these premium touches like audio tuned by Bang & Olufsen and that super sleek Nightfall black aluminum finish. On paper, this thing is an absolute beast.
This is really where that smart angle comes into focus. See, it's not just about raw power, it's about intelligent power. One of the key features is something called Smart Sense, and HP says this thing automatically optimizes performance for you. It even claims to have in-bag detection to stop the laptop from overheating when you stash it away. Now remember that little detail. Trust me, it's going to be important later on.
And that's the million-dollar question, isn't it? The specs are incredible. The features sound amazing. But that moment you get it home and unbox it, that's where the rubber really meets the road.
And this is where our story takes a pretty sharp turn. Because when you start digging into user forums and community discussions, a very, very different picture of the Spectre x360 starts to emerge. And it almost always revolves around one, let's call it a fiery issue.
This quote from an XP support forum, wow, it's pretty intense. It says the laptop would heat up so much it would nearly burn my skin to the touch. And suddenly, that fancy metallic exterior that was praised in the marketing, it becomes a liability. It conducts heat so well that it's physically painful. So for some users, the very thing that was supposed to make the laptop feel premium was actually making the core problem so much worse.
And it wasn't just the heat, not by a long shot. People started reporting a whole list of other frustrations. You've got fans spinning up so loud they sound like airplane engines. And remember that in-bag detection feature? Yeah, some users found the complete opposite was happening. Their laptops were turning on by themselves inside their bags and basically becoming a furnace. Throw in some screen flickering, faulty fingerprint sensors, camera failures, and you start to see this pattern of really significant day-to-day problems.
So, with all these widespread issues, what's the official word from HP? I mean, what are they telling people to do? Well, the company has its own set of tools and recommended fixes to try and get the machine back on track. Let's take a look at what they suggest.
Okay, so the main official solution for the overheating problem is to take a little trip into the laptop's BIOS. The instructions are pretty straightforward. Restart the machine, hit F10 to get into the settings, and then change the system power scheme from the default performance mode over to balanced. The idea here is to reduce the CPU's max power usage, which in theory should lower the temperature.
Then you've got the HP Support Assistant. It's advertised as this great tool to tune up or optimize your HP laptop for peak performance. Sounds good, right? Well, the reality for some users was a completely different story. One person on Reddit said they just had to remove it. They claimed that along with the pre-installed McAfee software, was constantly eating up like 15% of their CPU resources, even when the computer was just sitting there, idle.
So, what happens when the official fixes just don't cut it? Well, this is where a dedicated community of users often steps up to the plate. They start writing their own playbook. And for the Spectre x360, this meant people had to get their hands dirty, I mean really dirty, and dive deep into the machine's core settings to find a more powerful but definitely riskier solution.
And at the heart of this community playbook is a concept called undervolting. Now, in simple terms, this is basically the process of carefully reducing the amount of electricity or voltage that's being sent to the processor. The whole goal is to find that perfect sweet spot where you lower the power consumption and the heat, but without, making the whole system unstable and crash.
But, and this is a huge but, there's a major catch. As one Reddit user warns,
doing this kind of modification can totally affect your warranty. Now, while you can theoretically reverse it before you send the laptop in for service, you're absolutely playing with fire here. It's a classic high-risk, high-reward kind of situation.
And just look at this process. This isn't as simple as just changing one setting. No way. We're talking about downloading BIOS files, using specialized third-party tools to hunt for specific little hex values, creating a special bootable USB drive, and then manually editing the laptop's firmware just to disable a lock that the factory put there. It's a whole different universe from that simple official fix.
So why on earth would anyone go through all that trouble? Well, the payoff. The results. Users have reported temperature drops of as much as 15 degrees Celsius. Let me tell you, that is a massive, game-changing improvement. That's the kind of thing that can take a laptop that's unusably hot and transform it into a cool, quiet, high-performing machine. So what we're left with here are these two parallel stories, right? You've got the simple, official solutions from the manufacturer on one side, and on the other, you've got these complex, powerful, and pretty risky solutions coming directly from the user community. It really raises a fascinating question about what it even means to truly own a piece of technology these days.
So I guess the big takeaway is this. The HP Spectre x360 clearly has incredible potential. The hardware is all there. But for a lot of users, unlocking that full potential requires a really deep dive under the hood. It's a level of technical tinkering that you just don't anticipate when you're buying a premium off-the-shelf product.
And that really leads to a pretty fundamental question for all of us. When we pay a premium price for something, what should we expect? Should a device just work flawlessly, perfectly, right out of the box? A totally curated experience? Or, in today's world, is the ultimate feature actually the freedom to take that device and tweak it and customize it and make it truly, completely your own?